I watched every single game from Carl Dizzy, Kyrie, all the way to Yasuke to figure out how the best junglers in the world play macro. Starting from how to pick a jungler based on the condition, the optimal farming routes, what to do when you get invaded, how to set up objectives properly, tricks to never miss a retribution, all the way to mistakes you need to avoid. But all of it depends on the hero you're playing, so let's learn how to draft. Jungle heroes are split into two types. If your team doesn't have two tank heroes yet, pick a tank jungler like Fredwin, Barretts, Baxia, Uranus, or Akai. But if your team already has enough tanks, just pick a damage dealing jungler, either assassin or a fighter. So, which one's better? Actually, don't worry about the jungler type. Focus on your team's composition instead. If your team runs a dive comp, pick a jungler that can jump onto enemies like Nolan, Joy, or Lancelot. If your team runs a front-to-back comp, pick a DPS jungler like Ling, Fanny, or Leomord. But if you're not sure about your team's composition, just pick one that can do both like Joy, Guinevere, or Xborg. You need to understand all of this because early game farming routes depend on the hero you're playing. The truth is, your battle doesn't start in the jungle, it starts at the first shop. Should you buy the red, blue, or purple retribution? If your hero needs extra mobility or needs to kite, buy the blue retribution. But if your hero is agile and wants to 1v1 all the time, buy the red one instead. And if you're playing a tank jungler, buy the purple retribution. At this point, you have two options. Start from the blue side or the red side. Here's the deal. In the early game, always start from the gold lane side towards the XP lane side. If gold lane is on top, use this route, and if XP lane is on top, use this route. The problem is, in-game won't be that smooth because you can get invaded. So, what should you do? First, look at the matchup. If you win the matchup, fight them. But if you lose, just don't die. Run away and farm somewhere else. The same logic applies if you wanna invade the enemy. The most fatal mistake you can make in early game is clearing minions because the gold gets cut in half. After all the monsters are cleared, rotate to XP lane. They're the one who'll carry your early game. If your XP laner snowballs, you'll easily get the turtle because they can easily zone and pick off the enemy. But how do you capture the turtle properly? The key is the last hit damage matchup. Compare yourself with the enemy jungler. Every jungler has their own last hit damage value, like Leomord who can combo first skill and retribution, Hellcat who has second skill plus retribution, or Belmont with ultimate plus retribution. To make it simple, imagine Leomord versus Baxia. Leomord has higher last hit damage than Baxia, so it's way easier to win the retribution fight. If you're the Leomord, you can focus on turtle while your roamer and XP laner zone the enemy. But if you're the Baxia, you can't do that, because if Leomord comes in, he can easily win the retribution fight. It's better to team fight first and try to take out the Lord later. To sum it up, if you win in last hit damage, focus on the turtle, but if you lose, focus on fighting the enemy. The problem is, what if you can't last hit or fight, like Ling versus Baxia? In the early game, Ling can't beat Baxia in both last hit and team fight, so Ling has to cross the map, go to the enemy jungle far from the turtle and steal their monsters. You can even gank the enemy gold laner. Before minute 5, the farming route for all junglers is the same, but after minute 5, tank and damage junglers have different farming routes. If you're playing a damage jungler, your clear speed is fast, so focus on clearing jungler monsters and farming minions alone in an empty lane. Usually, the minions you take are the XP lane minions, while the XP laner rotates to another lane. Avoid the gold lane because they need to farm too. Make sure you farm alone so your XP doesn't get shared. All of that is done for one purpose: to win the retribution fight. because the higher your level, the harder you later will cover tricks to win retribution fight. But for now, let's talk about the tank jungler farming route. Tank junglers clear slowly because their damage only comes from the bonus true damage on retribution boots, which only activates when you hit jungler monsters, not minions. That's why don't farm lane minions. Even so, tank junglers shine in the mid game, where you can enter the enemy jungle to steal their monsters, pressure the enemy, and force small fights. Damage junglers get ahead by out-farming the opponent, while tanky junglers get ahead by disrupting the enemy's farm. Unfortunately, no matter how big your retribution level advantage is, you still need to be good at using it. So follow these 3 steps. First, calculate your last hit damage. That's retribution plus your hardest hitting skill. Then, position yourself properly. Don't stand inside the pit or anywhere the enemy can easily target you. Lastly, CC the enemy jungler as much as possible right before retribution, so the enemy loses their window. If you don't have CC, there's nothing wrong with asking your team for help. Your team needs to be coordinated, especially during team fights. Unfortunately, your role in team fights depend on your hero. If you're playing a tank jungler, you need to stand at the front line. But a super common mistake is showing on the map and getting picked off. Because while you're waiting to respawn, the enemy team will definitely take objective. So make sure your team is ready to back you up before you show yourself on the map. Your main job is to protect your marksman and mage, while preparing crowd control to punish the enemy marksman if they step out of position. It's different from damage junglers who needs to go in last. Never show yourself on the map. Always hide alone in the bush because a single CC can get you picked off. So your job is to wait. Wait for the enemy to engage before you flank them, or wait for your tank to start the fight so you can follow up. Target enemies in the priority order of marksman, jungler, and mage. All of that will carry you through the mid game, but in the late game, your role is different. A tank jungler is no longer the main tank, but the secondary tank. You are a walking retribution. Show yourself on the map with your team and get ready to fight. A common mistake is clearing a lane that's far from the Lord, because the moment you're seen far from the Lord, the enemy can just take it immediately. It's a different story if you're playing a damage dealing jungler. You can still clear your far lane if you have high mobility, but don't show yourself on the map because 1 CC and your team will straight up lose. Position yourself as far as possible from the enemy initiator and get ready to fight. Because the key to winning the late game is the Lord, you need to understand how the Lord dance. If the condition is even, the Lord can't be bursted because it makes retribution 50-50. That's the reason pro players use the Lord dance so often, because it gives the retribution advantage if executed properly. First, slow push the far lane, then set up vision. Open the map near the jungle and hit the Lord slowly. Don't stand inside the Lord pit. Hit the Lord while opening the map in the middle of the river until you reveal some enemies. Your goal isn't to finish the Lord, but to make the enemy confused between the Lord and the far lane that's being pushed. Poke the enemy lightly while you keep stalling the Lord. The far lane will force the enemy to send someone to catch the wave. This opens a brief window for your team to start a fight. If you can't, keep poking lightly and repeat the same thing until someone blunders. This video took a long time to make, but this is just one of many macro tutorials on this channel. So join our YouTube membership to get early access to future videos, and if you loved this video, you'll definitely love this video too.